الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. نعم. So we reached the part of the lecture where the Sheikh talks about the manners of socializing in society. Very, very important. Islam covers every aspect of our lives, even the way we socialize. And this is one of the greatest weapons of the enemies of Islam, is to corrupt the way we socialize in our societies. Because if socializing is not done correctly, it's going to lead to corruption of the society. And once you have a society that's corrupted morally, psychologically, emotionally, look at this society. Look how corrupt it is. And this is why they depend on immigration to keep it up. The so-called American people, if there's a such thing, so-called American people are so destroyed through drugs, fornication, adultery, and entertainment that if everyone that is not American was to go back to their indigenous countries, America will fall from that day. All the Indian, Pakistani, and African, African, Asian, let's just say it like that. If every African, Asian doctor went back home, who would be in the hospitals? Same thing with engineering. What would happen? Technology without immigrants. What would happen to America? They destroyed themselves morally. They destroyed themselves socially. Think about it. People come from other countries, whether it be Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, they have a religion. America is the only country in which they practice the holidays that's attributed to every single religion. What does that mean? That means, and their practice socially, if with those holidays, is that you get off. So imagine someone, he's American, but he has a religion, supposed to be Christian, but he takes off St. Patrick's Day, he takes off Valentine's. That has nothing to do with anybody's religion. He takes off Christmas, Hanukkah. I mean, every holiday he wants off. Every holiday he wants off. And then he wants the weekends off so he can party. And everything, every time they want to enjoy something, is always connected to some type of intoxicant. Some type of intoxicant. So they are destroyed morally. The society is destroyed. So now what happens? Get those fresh immigrants who have religion, who have morals, who have culture, and who have family depending on them. They're going to work. So now the American people themselves, the so-called American people, I don't care what color they are now, in order, prisons and for the medicines, they're lab rats. They have done. Get the people come from other countries, they don't have those drug addictions, don't have those issues, and they're going to be now the manpower. That's all they did. They switched their own people out and brought other people in. No. No.
This one, that's the 2 minutes that I stay, open my eyes really.
Real honey. No.
That's why I say, as an immigrant,
Mm-hmm.
immigrant should be a leader in America. It's supposed to be American people
Mm-hmm.
to lead.
Mm-hmm. But it's the same. It's the same psychology. It's the same psychology of a pimp. The pimp devalues the value of what they need to make their money, so that the person begs them to take it, that begs them to control it. And then they take that thing that's valuable. They take the person that has the thing that's valuable to them, they go and earn money with it, and then bring the money back to their pimp, and then the pimp gives them crumbs from it. It's the same thing. So what do? They know they don't have the human manpower anymore because they're destroyed. They're on drugs, they're on crack, they're on heroin, they're on meth, they're on this and they're on that. So they need the immigrants to come, but they try to act like they're making. They know they're going to let them in, but they try to make it difficult so that they feel like that green card of the immigration is more valuable than their actual position. In reality, if the immigrants stop trying to come, they would be what? Paying them to come. We need doctors. We need engineers. We need drivers. We need nurses. We need housekeepers. We need, because all of that's done. American people don't want to work. American people are tired of taxes. American people are tired of so much things. They're not getting their pension, not getting their. So American people are tired and worn out. They're not a good commodity anymore. You need new people. But what can you do? So what you gonna do with all these American people? Lock them up, put them in mental institutions, and then the immigrants are not going to complain about taxes. The American people are going to complain about taxes. So bring them in, they'll pay taxes because they're sending money, people depending on them. But American people got what? They got, most American people don't have a goal, don't have a path. They're just living. They're not living, I'm sorry, just existing. Just existing. So they make the immigrants feel like okay, we're going to let you in and like that. So they can value being here, and while at the same time, Americans are wanting to leave, but they still try to make Americans. You're going to go over there. So every country, think about this: if you try to go to Egypt, they got a travel warning on the American Embassy website. Travel warning to go to Egypt. Travel warning before going to Saudi. They tell you, try to strike fear you are going to anything out of America. But we're the ones that got Chicago, Detroit, Jacksonville, Florida, Compton. We're the ones with all of the most dangerous places in the world. But there's no travel warning on other NBC website, other countries' website about going to America, for warning that people are coming to America. I don't know.
And so you said something, for me being an immigrant.
Nah.
And what you just said is absolutely true.
Well, I honor you.
For real, because that's a deep knowledge. I didn't see that, and I learned that from you. Because when we first get here,
yeah,
when they give it, you get so excited to pay tax.
Yes.
Oh man, I gotta pay my tax. No.
Yes.
You pay the full tax, even this little. And now that you mentioned that, man,
yeah, this is the game.
It's the game.
This is the game.
It's the game.
Because we know that here, the reason that one of the reasons of the Civil War and the New World, America, wanted separation from England is because they didn't want to pay the Queen taxes. They didn't want to pay the Queen. So y'all fought not to pay the Queen taxes and then implemented taxes all over again. Because this was supposed to be the New World. The New World Order is not a conspiracy. In the UK, they got York, we got New York. They got Jersey, we got New Jersey. They got Hampshire, we got New Hampshire. This was the New World. This is the New World. It's nothing but another part of what they had over there. Now, so we're in the chapter of the manners of socializing. Now, this is Islam is a Complete Religion by Sheikh Muhammad Al-Amin al-Shanqiti. Inshallah.
To be honest, I got to pick up somebody at the airport.
No, Allah.
Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah. Anyway,
now 1 second.
No.
Give me Allah. Allah give you most better.
Anyway, Inshallah. No.
Take gonna be good for our children.
No. Milani.
No, I must say this. You're gonna be good for our children in here.
Inshallah.
Because a lot of the time, that's what I tell people, because we're from overseas.
No.
You're the best one for our children. We don't see that, because if you look at it, sometimes our children, they be complaining, African dad is this and that. But if you got the American imam telling you how this country is, you're gonna follow what your daddy said. According to Islam.
No.
Because your story is, I don't know how to say it, but Allah keep you longer with us.
Allah honor you.
Ameen. So inshallah, Brother Ture told me that you got a store over there.
Yes.
I didn't know about it.
Hey, nah.
Yes, so inshallah, I will stop over there tomorrow on my
Inshallah.
Alaikum
salam wa rahmatullah.
You started eating meat?
نعم. أبو رميسة تفضل.
Inshallah. Bismillah. The fifth issue, the manners of socializing in a society. Indeed, the Quran has quenched the thirst and brightened the path concerning this issue. Just look at what the leader of the society is ordered to do with the people in this society. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واخفض جناحك لمن اتبعك من المؤمنين, and lower your wing to those who follow you of the believers. Ash-Shu'ara 2:15.
And this point right here is very important when you're talking about and really, I know it sounds like I'm picking on sisters sometimes, but this is a reality. If we look at the hadith or the ayat in Quran and a hadith authentic from the Prophet ﷺ, when there's gender specification and Allah Ta'ala sent down that which is necessary for the rectification of everybody as a whole, then Allah Ta'ala sent down which is necessary to rectify in classes based on age, based on gender, and other than that. So when it comes to this issue here, the issue, when we look at it as a whole and split mankind, and the first division of mankind was what? Who knows the first division that Allah divided mankind into? Men and women. That's the first division. And then when Allah Ta'ala separated men and women, separated mankind into two genders, he put a chain of command. So anybody who rejects roles and rejects, when people talk that liberalists, talk, leftist talk, I don't believe it should be roles. Allah Ta'ala is the one who established the roles. Allah established the roles. There's nobody that can say that there's no roles and there's no such thing as all being equal. No, we all have a duty to do according to what Allah Ta'ala legislated. So every male and female has to look, am I living up to the role that Allah Ta'ala has given me? There are ayahs that begin like that, ar-rijal, the men. So Allah is talking about the men. And nisa, the women. Allah is talking about the women. And those verses are gender specific. And we have to accept those roles that Allah legislates when He's gender specific. And then sometimes Allah Ta'ala is gender inclusive. Everybody has to do it, males and females. Al-mu'minun wal-mu'minat, the believing men and the believing women. Ba'dahum awliya'u ba'd. They are protectors of one another. Ya'muruna bil ma'ruf wa yanhuna 'anil munkar. They order with good and they forbid evil. There's all of these descriptions Allah gives. Then it's gender specific. So when Allah Ta'ala is gender specific, and He lays out roles, then at that point, we have to accept those roles that Allah Ta'ala is saying. And there's no successful institution without a chain of command. It doesn't even make sense to have everybody just on the same plane. There's no difference between individuals. Well, how does that make sense in an institution in which things need to be taken care of? There has to be a chain of command. Everybody can't own McDonald's. Somebody has to make the fries. If everybody owns McDonald's, you're not going to have a fry guy. That's it. If everybody owns Starbucks, nobody's going to make coffee. Nobody's going to make coffee. So it doesn't even make sense. And Allah Ta'ala is clearly explained this in Surah Al-Zukhruf. He said, وَرَفَعَ بَعْضَهُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ لِيَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُهُم بَعْضًا سِخْرِيًّا. Allah Ta'ala said He raised some over others financially, so that some could take others as employees. Allah said that. Somebody's going to be the employer. Somebody's going to be the employee. That's how it goes. This is how it goes. This is the institution that Allah set up. It's not something somebody else made up. So likewise, but each individual, depending on their station, has to be truthful to that station and know the rights of the other individual in that station.
It's another road, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, it starts the highest level, like in the hadith, that all of you are shepherd and all you're responsible for your flock. The Prophet began with the ruler. The ruler has a flock, but there's an exchange between the ruler and the rule. Nobody has absolute control. Allah said, if you dispute anything, refer back to Allah and His Messenger if you believe in Allah on the last day. So there's no absolute control. And the one who has A form of absolute control is the one that is ruling, whether it be a ruler ruling this country or his land, or whether it be a husband ruling his household, whether it be a wife ruling and the ruler over her husband's household in his absence. Whoever is ruling completely by Quran and Sunnah, that's the only time you can have complete control. If you're completely doing things by Quran and Sunnah, and your control lessens the further you get away from Quran and Sunnah. Because in reality, if you're running things by Quran and Sunnah, you're not the one in control. You're letting everybody know this is what Allah said. Allah's in control. The Prophet ﷺ, his Sunnah is what is controlling the situation. Other than that, then anybody that's coming with their opinion, their point of view, their emotions, and all of that, then that can be accepted or rejected. But anything that is based on clear revelation, that has to be accepted. There's no doubt about it, because rejecting that is rejecting what Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. So Allah Ta'ala says, as the brother just quote Abu Rumay said, and lower your wing to those who follow you of the believers. So he's advising, Allah Ta'ala is advising the Prophet ﷺ and anybody that's given leadership to have humility with those that are under his leadership by not burdening them with things that they can't handle. Nah. تفضل.
فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله إن الله يحب المتوكلين. So by mercy from Allah, O Muhammad, you were lenient with them. And if you had been rude in speech and harsh in heart, they would have disbanded from about you. So pardon them and ask forgiveness for them, and consult them in the matter. And when you have decided, then rely upon Allah. Indeed, Allah loves those who rely upon Him. Al-Imran 159. Then look at how the general populace are ordered to behave with their leader.
Now, really quickly, Abu Rumaysa. So look at this. This ayah presents a fitna for people that have liberalism in their heart. This ayah presents a fitna for people that have liberalism in their heart. Remember, the fitna is in the heart of the people, not in the ayah. This ayah presents a fitna for people that have liberalism in their heart. So those that have liberalism in their heart, they interpret this ayah to mean we should do whatever it takes to get along, even if the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is being violated. This is not what this ayah is talking about. This ayah is talking about to do concession wherever Allah gives concessions, then give the people concession. Don't overburden the people by where Allah Ta'ala has given room for the people and not restricted the people, then don't put up restrictions where Allah has not put up restrictions. It doesn't mean to allow the book and the Sunnah to be violated. That's not what it means. It means that wherever Allah has given concession, to give concession. Wherever Allah Ta'ala has ordered an obligation, then follow the obligation. Wherever Allah Ta'ala has put a prohibition, then follow that prohibition. This is the mercy, and this is what Allah Ta'ala is advising the Prophet ﷺ with, not going beyond that. Not going beyond the restrictions of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Nah. تفضل.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. Al-Ayah. O you have believed, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those in authority among you. An-Nisa 59. Then observe.
So now you look at this. After that, any type of obedience after the obedience of Allah and His Messenger is only required as long as that obedience is what? Connected to the obedience of Allah and His Messenger. As long as whoever's ordering you is ordering you with something that doesn't contradict what Allah said in His book and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then that is either highly recommended or obligatory, depending on the rank of that person in your life, your parent, your spouse, so forth and so on. And depending on if what they're telling you to do is an obligation in Quran and Sunnah or something highly recommended, and so forth and so on. And the reason I've stated it that way is because there are things that are not obligatory, that are highly recommended, that if a parent ordered the child to do it, And this is not about being grown. Some people say, I'm grown. You're still your parent's child. So if your parent orders you to do something that's in agreement with the book of the Sunnah and obligates you to do that thing, and it doesn't cause you to go away from any the obligations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or fail in the rights of someone that you have that have rights over you, then you're obligated to do it, even if it in and of itself is not an obligation. It becomes an obligation by your parents. Same thing with the husband over the wife, and so forth and so on. Nah.
No. Then observe the way man is ordered to behave in his own private circle, with his wife, children, and those similar. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاب شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones, over which are appointed angels, harsh and severe. They do not disobey Allah and when He commands them, but do what they are commanded. At-Tahrim, Ayah 6.
Now, normally the word shadid, and that's mentioned here, would be called being stern. And people have a problem with distinguishing between being stern and being harsh. So people call being stern harsh, and it's not. Being stern means to be firm according to the obligation and the prohibitions. Being harsh is to be stern with added emotion, unnecessary emotion. That doesn't cause the person to follow the command of Allah, but it causes the person to have disdain for the speaker, or even disdain for the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's being harsh. Being stern is ordering the people exactly as Allah ta'ala ordered. Allah ta'ala, He described the angels here. This is where it's permissible to use to translate this word or interpret as harsh. Why? Because He's talking about the angels over the hellfire. And people that earn the hellfire deserve to be treated harshly, not sternly. They didn't follow the stern advice in the dunya by establishing the salat and paying the zakat. So now they got to follow the harsh. They have to now be under a harsh punishment because they wouldn't listen to the stern advice. So whoever listens to the stern advice that is being firm from Kitab wa Sunnah, inshallah will avoid a harsh punishment in the grave and a harsh punishment in the hellfire. But whoever says sternness in the dunya, being directed to the book and the Sunnah, is harshness, then they're going to jeopardize themselves being put into a harsh situation in the akhirah. And look at the command here. It all goes back to what? It all goes back to trying to save people from the fire. And this is what people that have a problem with being dealt with sternly have to realize. Look at what the person is saying. How is it going to hurt you? السلام عليكم. أنا في المسجد في الدرس. يعني إن شاء الله أتصل لما انتهي إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم. Now, so it's a person would have asked themselves, okay, this person, they're saying harsh. Forget about the tone. Forget about the delivery. What is being said? What being said? Is it going to harm you when you stand before Allah if you listen to it? Or is it going to help you when you stand before Allah if you were to listen to it? This is the point. Get the point. But some people, and I say this, I've said this on a few occasions, some people miss the point just to make a point. Some people miss the point just to make a point. And anything can be debated. It doesn't mean that it's a legitimate debate. Allah Ta'ala said about mankind, إِذَهُ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Al-Nahl and in Surah Al-Yasin, that He created man, and then man has the audacity to argue the existence of Allah, and He's created. So if anybody can argue a point. The Big Bang Theory, going to the moon, anybody can argue a point. But what's the validity of it when you stand on that day, naked, barefoot, waiting to be marched to the gathering where everybody's going to be judged and sent to their final destination. What's the point of your argument? Your argument and the point you're trying to bring in order to avoid the point. What scale is it going to go on? We got two scales: a scale for good deeds and a scale for bad deeds. Two books: a book for good deeds, a book for bad deeds. Where is your argument going to go when somebody's bringing you? Call Allah, call Rasul. This is the understanding and application of the companions. You're arguing against that. Where is it going to lead you? What's the point? What's the point? And this is how man is. This is how man is. وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانِ what? أَكْثَرُ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. Allah said in the Quran, and man is the most quarrelsome creature. Man is the most quarrelsome creature. Man always got a point them and argue. This is not no. And some people are so impressed with their ability to argue, they argue just for the sake of being able to argue, just to argue. And some people even say it. No, I was just, arguing. I was just, making a point. Are you serious? Our days are numbered. And you just want to make a point when it comes to revelation. You just want to argue just because it's possible. La ilaha illallah. Naam, tafaddal.
Look at how the man is warned with vigilance and caution with regards to his family circle. However,
Hello?
No, afwan. Look at how the man is warned with vigilance and caution with regards to his family circle. However, were he to find a matter that displeasing, he's commanded to forgive and overlook. He's firstly commanded with firmness and cautiousness, and then with pardoning and overlooking. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن من أزواجكم وأولادكم عدوا لكم فاحذروهم وإن تعفوا وتصفحوا وتغفروا فإن الله غفور رحيم. O you who believe, indeed, O you who believe, indeed among your wives and your children are enemies to you, so beware of them. But if you pardon, overlook, and forgive, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful. Taghabun 14.
Now look at this ayah. Very important. This ayah was revealed. This is in Taghabun, was revealed La ilaha illallah. After Allah Ta'ala ordered with hijrah. After Allah Ta'ala ordered with hijrah. When they make migration from the lands of disbelief to the lands of Islam. And what happened? Some of the Sahaba, some of their wives and their children said, we're not leaving. My family's here. We're not leaving. I don't know what's over there. I'm not going there. They're not my people. This, that, and the third. This is what happened. So brothers, a lot of brothers and even sisters, but mainly brothers, want to argue the point that, oh, they had Medina to go to, and they had people waiting to help them. There's nobody helping us migrate to other countries. Okay, they were being threatened to be killed for saying La ilaha illallah. There's nobody doing that to you now. So which hijrah is harder? The hijrah that you got to hurry up and leave, because if not, somebody may strap your wife, your daughter, your mother to two horses and then send them off running in two different directions to split them in half, like what happened to Sumayya radiallahu anha. This is the kind of torture that was happening to the Sahaba. So nobody is torturing us because La ilaha illallah here. All they're doing to us here to destroy us is exposing us to our desires, making sure every sin is easy to get to. So they're making us self-destruct. They knew the Sahaba, that those who were first and foremost embracing Islam, they weren't going to self-destruct. So they had to try to physically destroy us. Now they say, we don't even got to attack these people. Let them attack their own souls. Open up the doors to every type of iniquity, every type of lewdness, every type of corruption, and they'll self-destruct. This is what they did. So now, here it is. When the Sahaba heard the order to migrate to the lands of Islam, they raced. They raced to get out of Dar al-Kufr. Not us, we argue on behalf of Dar al-Kufr and speak down about the lands of the Muslims. Over there, they don't be having running water. Over there, the electric be cutting off. Over here, your children can change their gender, get their penises chopped off and their vaginas sold up behind your back with the permission of the school district and the government. What are you talking about? Okay, I'll talk about something less than that. If that upsets you, your children can be convinced that Allah doesn't exist, or Allah has children, or Allah is 3 in 1. Where's your aqidah? How can someone claim to be on the correct aqidah and argue about living amongst people that don't have the same aqidah. How can you argue that? Why would you be there? Why would you be? It's like going there, and this may be a weak analogy, but it's like going to a gay bar, a man going to a gay bar with a girl, or a woman going to a lesbian bar with a man and saying, look, I don't got nothing to do with what they do. I got a girl with me. I'm not gay. So why would you go there? Why would you be there? If you don't fit, if you don't believe you don't fit in, and that's not your place, you're not on with these people on. Why would you be in a gay bar, even if you're a man in a gay bar? But I got a girl with me. I'm not. But why would you be there? Okay, if we're not Buddhist, Sikh, Christian, Jew, these new people now, the indigenous, the ancestor believers, if we're not on any of that belief, why would we live amongst people that's upon that belief? Well, why? It's worse than being in a gay bar. It's worse. So this was revealed when Allah Ta'ala said for the Muslims to make hijrah. And then the family refused. So then those men made hijrah without their wives and their children. And when they were trying to seduce them into remaining in the land of disbelief, this was Mecca. This was Mecca. They were ordered to leave Mecca. They were ordered to leave where the house of Allah is, the Masjid al-Haram, the sacred precincts, because the disbelievers had control. They were told to leave. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was told to leave. The place that was built by Ibrahim and Ismail, he was told to leave. Why? Because the Muslims don't control it. Leave. What's the argument? And when the wives and children, they left without. They left without. So then at the end of the ayah, when Allah Ta'ala says, but if you forgive and overlook, that is because after that, some of those companions, their wives and children arrived in Medina. And then those companions said, no, you didn't come. When we left, we don't accept you. And then Allah revealed this ayah. Okay, they made repentance and they end up coming. So now forgive and overlook. That's what that's about. That's what this ayah is about. Nah. So because this is a great obligation. I don't care if you're in America or you're leaving to go to the land of the Muslims. The Muslims have to try to the best of their ability for themselves, number one, and then for their families to secure the most conducive Islamic environment possible. And whoever has the ability to secure an Islamic environment that's conducive to a Muslim's iman and growing in Islam and doesn't do it intentionally, choosing to be in a place that is worth for financial gain or for the sake of financial loss, where they have the actual ability, then this person has fallen short and he was going to be held accountable by the Lord of the worlds, subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the ayah also that comes in this same surah, Surah Al-Taghabun, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Then fear Allah according to your ability. So everybody's responsible for the ability. Some of you heard me say this over and over again. Responsibility kicks in when ability and opportunity meets. When a person has the ability and he has the opportunity and he doesn't push forward, now he's responsible before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if because of that he suffered in his religion or his family suffered in their religion and so forth and so on, or in their health or in their psychology or in their emotion and so forth and so on. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. Nah. Tafaddal.
Thereafter, look how the general population are ordered to treat one another. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct and giving to relatives and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. He admonishes you that perhaps you will be reminded.
Nah. So now if we look at this ayah, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl wal ihsan. So this is, even though Allah mentioned the opposite of it, goes without saying. So whatever is the opposite of justice and excellence, then Allah Ta'ala prohibits that. But then he said, وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ. Then he prohibits immorality, wal-munkar, and evil, and transgression. So now if Allah orders with justice and kindness and excellence and prohibits the opposite of it, then how could we live in a place that is the exact opposite of what Allah orders with? A place of fahsha, immorality, munkar, evil, and bad conduct, and bugging and transgression and oppression. How could we live here? And Allah said He orders with this. And then He says, what? He admonishes you that perhaps you will be reminded. This is an admonishment from Allah. La ilaha illallah. Inshallah, we're going to stop here. Stop a little short because we started a little late. It was a conversation of a car that was broken into here at the masjid, 2 cars that were broken into. So because of that, we didn't sign on as we planned at the time that we planned. But yeah, so we want to go into this and give this chapter its rights, inshallah ta'ala, as much justice as we can. So we'll stop here. And then inshallah ta'ala, next week we'll begin. Tomorrow's class will be canceled. I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin on the lecture circuit there until Sunday, inshallah ta'ala. So we'll stop here. If there are any statements or questions about anything but said, we'll take them now. If not, we'll stop here.
Assalamu alaikum. One thing. So the definition of being harsh, right? There's a difference between being firm is firmness upon Quran and Sunnah with added emotion. Is that correct?
Being firm. No, firm is being firm on that which is obligatory and that which Allah Ta'ala ordered with in the book and Sunnah, and staying away from that which Allah Ta'ala prohibited. And being harsh is taking that firmness and then adding emotion and placing obligations where Allah has given concessions. Placing obligations where Allah Ta'ala has given concessions. Nah.
Okay.
And I'll give one incident. The Prophet ﷺ, and I'm trying to remember the ayat that was revealed because of it. Trying to remember the ayat that was revealed because of it. It's not coming to me. But one time the Prophet ﷺ saw the companions, they were talking in past time and they were laughing. And the Prophet ﷺ said to them, if you knew what I knew, you would laugh less and cry more. And then Allah revealed the ayah. It's not coming to me now, but basically telling the Prophet ﷺ within that ayah to be easy on them.
There's people, a lot of people, like I've heard that in Yogi, like when I look at X, these people, if they only do that laugh less and cry more, and then said with Allah
revealed to the Prophet ﷺ to be easy. Nah.
Yeah, still staying in. They don't even take. Someone won't even take the other part.
No.
Easy.
Nah.
Just stuck on the first part.
Yep. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna deen yusr, wa ma shada ahadun fi deen illa ghalabahu." He said the religion is easy, and no one goes to extreme in religion except it's going to become a burden on him. It's going to overcome him. It's going to become, he's going to become tired of the religion. So it's very, 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 very important.
That's what makes some people that come rushing in, and they don't take their time with it, it become burden.
Yeah. Like somebody who comes in, they want to do all of the sunnah, and then the obligatory salah, there's no taking your time in that. You got to offer the prayers. Ramadan, you got to do that. But somebody might come in offering all of the sunnahs, and they praying tahajjud, and they fasting every other day, and they doing all of that, and before you know it, they can't do it anymore. And they come from doing all of those prayers to missing obligatory prayers. So a person is supposed to take their time to come up with increment, and Allah Ta'ala legislated those non-obligatory acts of worship in increments. They want all. The Prophet ﷺ didn't direct us to tahajjud with them. 4 rakat, 2 rakat fajr, the 4 rakat before and after the Lord. He didn't say that all at once. He step by step introduced these acts of worship to the people, so the people be step by step. And the best thing to do is do something that you will be able to be consistent in, and not something that it takes a certain state of health and psychology to be able to do it. And that just by aging, that's going to be taken away. And one of the Sahaba said that. He said he said, because he was advised, the Prophet ﷺ He said, what should I fast besides Ramadan? The Prophet said Mondays and Thursdays, I can fast more than that. Then he said, Ayyam al-Bid, the 3 days, the 3 white days. He said, I can fast more than that. He said, then the fast of Dawood. And he said, I'm not going to fast of Dawood. And the Prophet ﷺ gave him advice concerning that, like not to stick to the fast of Dawood every other day. And he said, and then he swore that he would pray the fast of Dawood for the rest of his life. He said, then when I became older and weak, I wish that I never made that oath. Because you don't have to make an oath to keep doing it. Do it as long as you have the ability. Do as you have long. As a matter of fact, the hadith, inshallah, I'll share it in the group. The hadith is not coming to me now. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever becomes accustomed to doing an act of worship, becomes accustomed to do it, not making an oath to do it, don't obligate yourself to do it, but becomes accustomed to doing an act of worship, then Allah Ta'ala, when he becomes sick or unable to do that act of worship, Allah Ta'ala will continue to reward him the reward that he used to get for doing that act, because Allah knows that had he not been sick, then he would still be doing that act, right? But once you obligate yourself, nah, inshallah, I'll research the hadith and share it in the group. No. So we'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.